Hi, beautiful Wild Sisters, Jen here. So today is our Wild Chat number 10, and I have a special guest. She actually is a very, very close friend of mine. She looks like me, talks like me, or probably even smells like me. So I'm gonna welcome her right now, and let's celebrate Chinese New Year together. This is the moment that she actually does have something to share from her heart, because it's been weighing down on her for quite a while, and she will love to be witnessed by all of you. So let's welcome Jen. Jen Yang. So hold on a second, let me just tune her in really quickly. Hi everyone. Hi Jen, thank you for introducing me. So this is Jen. So where I am right now is at my ancestor altars, where you can see my ancestors here. Chinese New Year is here, and I just feel like to take this as an opportunity to share with you all that what I have been going through in my inner journey, So actually, people were asking me, hey, Jen, so I know you used to work in the IT industry, and now you're a transformational mentor. Like, how did you get from that place to this place that's like 180-degree difference? What's the missing part right there, right? And to be very, very honest, I haven't actually revealed a big part of my inner journey, neither on my website, because I have been processing for many years. Okay. And before I share anything, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I actually wanted to introduce myself all over again through a presentation style. So I actually made some slides for you to relate to me better. So there we go. I hope this whole Mercury retrograde will not affect my screen sharing. Hold on a sec. All right, there we go. Can you see it? Yep. All right, so everything starts from home, from my family. Well, that's where the root is. And to me, it's a place where I wanted to escape, but couldn't, and always felt drawn to come back to where I was from. So let me just explain briefly so you can relate to me more, just more easier than English. All right. Okay, so I was raised by these two words. It's called Compassion Radiance. So what you can see here is a billboard of my dad's clinic. It's called Compassion Radiance, if I really have to translate it into English. And look how old the billboard look. It's like all broken, all kind of like cobwebs. And I have to say, well, underneath you can see there's a traditional market down there. And that's where I am at this moment. So if I look out from this ancestral altar, I get to see the billboard right away. Let me just share that with you first. All right. Can you see that? Those two words right there, hanging up there? That's what I mean. Already, come back. Yes, okay, so my dad is a physician. My mom, she is also in the pharmaceutical field. And it's been a very interesting self-exploration ever since I left the IT industry. Of course, I knew I wasn't, staying in the IT industry wasn't my endeavor to pursue. And I know there's something bigger is calling me. But of course, before I was able to really dive in and say, I'm going to serve, I'm going to help more people to get back into their heart, I realized I haven't got back into my heart. I haven't fully heal what's going on within my heart space. And that has to do with the family. Okay, so let's continue. All right. So I felt really disconnect from these two words, which is compassion and radiance, because let me just chew on this. How do I deliver the message? Yes, okay. So the whole childhood and early adulthood experience, to me, it didn't feel compassionate. It didn't feel radiant. And I always find it awkward to connect with these two words, which are actually, you know, being in a house forever for me, ever since I was born. And here's the story. There are two women who have changed my life. And number one, I want to introduce you to her is my mom. Well, that's my dad. You can see that's the wedding day, and my mom got married. And from that day on, that's how the family trauma got all started. So when I was a child, I was highly sensitive, and I know that my mom definitely was not happy. You know, even nowadays, I asked her if she's able to kind of having the recollection about how she felt when I was in her tummy, you know, when she was pregnant of me. And she said, I don't remember. I was just stressing, you know, I was stressing out. I couldn't feel a thing. And whenever you were born, I didn't feel, you know, I was surprised. I didn't feel much happier than, you know, I was pregnant or anything before. And when I heard that, I started to cry because I thought, you know, I thought every woman would be so happy to see a child, you know, being born from her sacred womb, not wound, but maybe it's wounding. Okay, just putting myself together here. Okay, so that's my mom, and I remember she told me also, oh, when your dad told me about how if I treat, you know, his mom very well, she's the type of woman, she would love you to death. She would cut her own head off and give it to you, right? And then my mom believed him, this innocent girl who believed this man she deeply in love with. And they got married. You know, of course, they love each other. You know, this is one fortunate part of the story. And moving on. This is my grandmother and my little me. If you can see, there's a little Jen right here. I labeled it in yellow. This is from my dad's side, my grandma and my grandpa that you can see here. So basically, to make the story short, after my mom got married to the Yangs family, there's no single day that she was able to rest. She was pretty much being abused, not physically, but mentally, psychologically, emotionally, energetically, in all other aspects. So, wow, I'm feeling a lot of emotion here while I'm speaking about it. And then I remember I've never felt, you know, close relationship with her, with my grandma, because I had such resentment towards her about looking at her as a perpetrator of the house. She manipulated, you know, my mom and also my dad as well, and it felt like there's always that big split that she's creating in the family. Yes, so 20 plus years of mental, psychological, energetic, any type of trauma she has caused. Even though I was studying abroad, I was in the US at the time, you know, when I was in high school, I knew how my mom was going through some crazy shit, you know. the distorted feminine energy was pretty much fill up in the house. And especially when my grandpa passed away, she moved into our house. My dad took her in without consulting a word with my mom and assuming that she's going to be okay with it because, you know, they're a married couple. Of course, you know, the wife will agree to the husband. Well, so that's a patriarchal paradigm right here. My grandpa is a really nice man. I still remember her. I still remember him when I was little. Anyway, let me just move on with the story. So here we go. So the billboard of Compassion Radiance, which is the name of the clinic of my dad, he actually dedicated these two words to my grandma. Compassion Radiance. And for me, it's always been a big question mark in my head. Like, why do you give those two words to her? Because she doesn't deserve it. She's a perpetrator in the house. She's an abuser. She does not deserve these prestigious name, you know. And then so I want to share with you how my dad actually named it to honor the love he has for her. This is actually taken out from a poem, a very, very well-known poem in Chinese. It's called 游子吟. Okay, if you translate it, it's called A Traveler's Lament. So basically it says a loving, which is compassion, a loving mother busy herself with needlework on clothes for a son who was going away. On the eve of his departure, she sewed thread after thread, worrying that his return would be delayed and late. How could the love of grass only inches tall every reciprocate spring after spring of sunshine day after day? I don't know if it makes sense in English to you, but anyway, so my dad took the first word of the poem, which is loving, which is compassion, adding up with the last word, the very last word of the poem is sunshine, which is radiance, put them together to make this name of the clinic, Compassion Radiance. And yes, for my grandma. And where is the thing? Anyway, just a little bit distraction here. So anyhow, this is where I am. Can you see? This is the ancestor altar. Obviously, my grandparents, they both transitioned to another realm. My grandma is here, my granddad right here. And I remember 3 years ago, exactly Chinese New Year timing, you know, which is exactly, you know, 3 years ago. I finally made a decision because after she passed away back in 2011, I refused to look at the portrait hanging up there. Okay, hanging up there. I refused to look at her for a straight 7.5 years just because I wasn't able to do the forgiveness work. You know, I wasn't able to heal whatever that's been going on in the house, you know. Whatever I have witnessed when I was a child, how she has done to my mom, and how my mom was resentful of the whole entire Yang family, and how my mom still has resentment toward my dad, even though she loves this man, you know, so deeply. Being a sensitive kid, I just like, I don't want to get out of here. I don't want to anything to do with this whole family crazy chaos, right? And so anyway, so when my grandmom passed away back in 2011, I just, no, I don't want to look at her. I want to cut her energy off my energetic field, okay? So I have always been psychically sensitive kid, you know, ever since I was little. I can sense spirits, including, you know, my other grandma from my mom's side. She contacts with me in my dreams or in my meditation, but I've never actually connected with this grandma, which is from my dad's side. And so it just feels really interesting right now. I'm just kind of sharing my family history with you, the trauma part right now, which is exactly 3 years later, you know. So 3 years ago, the same time, Chinese New Year, I was in the altar, exactly where I am. I knelt down on the floor and I looked up to the portrait. I said, okay, whatever happens between you and my mom, you and I, and everyone that's involved, I'm willing to let it go, but I don't know how. I don't know how. So teach me. So that was the first time I sincerely, genuinely, really surrender in the moment of the unknown, knowing that I have work to do, especially I'm on the path of personal transformation. I'm here to serve people. I'm here to serve other women. The first women I need to serve was me, who was resisting to go deep, to go to the part that I don't want to touch. And where am I? Yeah, okay, so after that, let me continue. Humbled by synchronicities, listening to spirit guidance. Okay, so ever since that day, 3 years ago, when I looked up to my grandma's portrait right here and it said, I'm willing to do the forgiveness work. I don't know how it's going to take me, but I'm willing to surrender to the process. The next day, my sister called me because at the time we're looking for the name of our business, right? Well, English name's called 𝒌𝒄 Metamorphosis Mentoring, but we're looking for a Chinese name, right? So we're able to register here in Taiwan. But for some reason, I was looking for, it has to be, you know, something to do with the heart because we need to open our heart to receive, da 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 da. And then I need to have some Chinese wording contained with a heart. But no matter what, we just couldn't find it. And every word that we found was just kind of like, sounds lame, sounds just corny. It sounds like one of those cosmetic surgery type of clinic. Crazy. So anyhow, so the next day after, exactly the next day, after I decided to say, I'm willing to do the work, I don't know how, but teach me, just in that total surrender mode. My sister called me the next day and said, hey, Jen, we found it. I was like, found what? She said, I think you're gonna be okay with it. And at the time, I didn't share with her any of my inner journey. And of course, my sister, Grace, you know who Grace is. So Grace said, why don't we just use Dad's clinic name, Compassion Radiance? The moment I heard it, I just got chills over my body, because if she called me a day before or even a week before, you know, I wouldn't even say yes, because I wasn't yet at the timing of doing the forgiveness work. And I don't think I'm able to claim these 2 words because I didn't want to have my grandma's energy in my business. That's insane. I don't want her to get into my business. But funny enough, it all came. So I was truly humbled by that experience, is that when my sister said, yeah, you know, because Compassion Radiance, that's almost exactly the same thing that we're standing for in our mentoring service, which is be true, connect within, and radiate out. So that's exactly as Compassion Radiance. So anyway, the story continues, okay? So the week after, I encounter another interesting synchronicity in my life, which is I found this beautiful little Kuan Yin statue I found in a traditional market. And I was actually looking for one, but they were just too expensive for me to afford. And then so this one was number one, affordable. The person was so nice, and she actually gave me a huge discount. And so I bought her, just like randomly. And immediately I took her to a Kuan Yin temple nearby my place in the district. So I took her over there and wanted to just kind of like be within that energy. And so I went to a temple. And the next thing I was experiencing was profound, was because that temple I've been for the million of times, but I've never actually saw what. So here is a picture. So I remember I hold this Kuan Yin statue in my arm. It's about this big. I held her in my arm close to my heart and just do the prayer. And as I finish the prayer, I look up. There's a banner right here, right? And the yellow part that I circled it, again, Compassion Radiance. It's exactly the same words as my dad's clinic name. I was immensely humbled at the moment. I didn't know what to say, what to think. I froze and I start bawling in the temple. And so as I'm sharing the story, I can still feel a lot of gratitude. Okay, so the next thing that I want to share is that there's so many times on this path where I've met my own obstacles, met my own inner shadows, met with challenges that I thought, no, I don't think I'm able to do this. I just can't do this. I want to give up. And a lot, right? A lot of those self-defeating thoughts and patterns that came, and I wasn't able to really I wasn't able to ground myself or believe in myself. In those times, again, I receive a lot of supports from the divine, which is I call synchronicities. So I remember, so this slide, basically I want to show you is they're all the same, okay? There's written in Chinese, you don't understand Chinese at all, but all I want to get my message across here is, so I went to China back in 2018. I got a couple, 2-3 clients that I had to visit at the time. And then one thing that I realized is so funny is wherever I went, these words just continuously, appear themselves and just speaking so loudly to me. So basically what it says is, remember your mission. Don't forget why you started. Don't forget why you started. So everywhere I went, I mean, including a movie theater, including a park, including somewhere that's like out of nowhere, it's like those words just came, all the same messages, right? Remember your mission. Don't forget why you started. So those are the words that I truly embrace, even till this moment. Sorry, it's really loud out there. So how can I remember why I started? Because there are times, as when we're going through rough waters, when things are not going well, it's just easy for you to think about, what if things goes wrong, it's not going to work out, So how can I remember why I started? So I really wanted to find a tattoo place to actually engrave Compassion Radiance, these 2 words on my hands, somewhere on my hands, and never actually found the tattoo place, the past 2 years. last 3 years actually, I've seen these two words appear on my wrist every time when I close my eyes and get into the meditative mode. So I really, really felt pulled to do, tattoos, basically, to remind myself why I started, why I decided to walk on this path. Why am I here? You know? And funny enough, again, I just couldn't find the right place to do my tattoo and I forgot about it. I'm just like, forget it. It's not my thing anyway. So um, the other day I came back, which was actually toward the end of the year in December 2020. I was in my parents' town and I happened to walk. Oh, this is a painting. By the way, that's a painting. I try to remember why did I start it at the first place. So that's the Chinese word I circle right here. It's called Remember Why You Started. That's a painting I did back in 2019. So anyway, going back to the tattoo part of the story is that, so 2020, the end of last year in December, sometime around, the last week of December, I was walking nearby the area of a traditional market, and there's a red light right in an intersection, and I had to stop. By the time, if I didn't stop, it was green, then I wouldn't see it. So what I saw was this. Remember why you started, the tattoo shop's name. Remember why you started. That's because I was waiting for the light to turn green and I was lifting up my chin and I saw that. I'm like, holy cow, that remembers everything I have been going through, including the name of the painting that I did, which is exactly the same words. So I reach out. I mean, I didn't plan to do one at the time because number one, it's in my parents' town and I don't want my parents to get nosy about it. And it's just, no, I'm not going to do it. But it would be interesting to just check it out. So I reached out to them. I wanted to check out the space. And interesting enough, that was the last day of December, the 31st of 2020. And the person was saying, yeah, just come over at 3 p.m. I was like, what? I did not expect that. Like, I have to go meet them within an hour. And that was already the last day of 2020. People normally were out for, the New Year celebration. Anyway, I mean, originally I was looking for a tattoo place somewhere in Taipei. That's like, another city where I live. And trying to look for a tattoo shop over there, but just no tattoo shop has the right vibe, nor the artist. The tattoo artist is important for me, but they don't understand my concept or whatever, right? So it never worked. But here is actually back to my parents' town where all the trauma started. That's like the first thing I want to avoid. I don't want to do anything that has to do with the trauma place, but my plan is never the divine plan. Divine has its plan. So I went to the tattoo place, as they suggested, an hour later. And I realized, wow, the people are extremely open. The studio was bright, it's clean. It's just, people are nice. It just feels right. It felt so right. So unexpectedly, I got my tattoo. This is a compassion and radiance on my right wrist, compassion on the left. And so now fast forward to where I am right now, which is Chinese New Year's again. After sharing this story with you, about me decided to do the forgiveness work 3 years ago, back to where I am, I'm reconciliating with these two words, these two energies of compassion radiance, which has a lot of memories about healing with the discord with my grandma, and the name of the clinic that my dad um, used to honor the love for his mom. And I am actually at peace with it. I'm actually at peace with it right now. And this is something I just love to share with you all, is that sometimes forgiveness is a deep, hard work. Sometimes we're not ready to completely forgive. And it took time for me. For example, it took 3 years till today. I felt such gratitude, such lightness, and I'm able to actually, you know, have this wild chat with you guys, sitting right here at the root of my home, where the ancestor altar is, having my grandma's picture, well, my granddad too, my grandma's picture hanging up there. And I'm proud of myself for doing the work, for owning, you know, everything, for owning everything that has been happening in the house. And it's funny, like 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I started to connect with my grandma's energy even more deeply. And she, on a soul level, was able to just connect with me from that unconditional love, which is something I was really foreign with when she was alive. You know, the human story that she was evil, she is a bitch, you know, she is mean, and she's a perpetrator to my mom. Whatever that has been in the storyline of my human family, right? It's the human family story. I'm able to tap into see a bigger view of, we're all souls. We're here to learn our lessons, and I'm grateful to learn my own lessons about forgiveness because of her, because of my grandma, because of this person I used to hate so much. And toward the end, this is another photo of me having another tattoo on my birthday this last month. It's a yin and yang. And you know how important it is for me to go to nature and to always stay grounded and stay inspired and remember our essences, which is we're light. Doesn't matter where you are. If you're feeling bright, you feel like you're at the on the top of the world, you're shining like a sun. That's perfect. That's beautiful light. But when you are in the dark, you see no hope. Well, the only thing you see was, you know, a full moon hanging on the dark sky. That's light as well. So and we're both light and shadows. So that tattoo I decided to do is to remind myself that no matter where we are shadow, or made of shadows, and we made of light. Without shadow, we don't see our light either. So that's what I want to share with you all. Thank you so much for witnessing. And this has been weighing on my heart for the past 3 years, and I have been processing. But I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to share with you um, at this time, because Chinese New Year has always been a catalyzing moment for me, you know. So, and toward the end, what's the end of it? Is there any slide toward the end? Yeah. So everything is sacred. Everything is sacred. So for any of you wild sisters, if you have something weighing heavy in your heart, remember that is sacred. And start listening to your own spirit. Start listening and asking yourself what speaks true to you. And don't be afraid to go into a deep, dark place, because normally when we go down there, there's immense value, immense healing jewels buried under there. So that's all about what I want to share. It's all about what I want to share. Yay, so you can see me now. All right, sisters. So that's my story. I have probably bored you or taken a little bit of your time to watch it, but thank you so much for seeing me and witnessing my personal journey, and for this Wild Spirit Untamed group. Um, I am so honored to be able to connect with you, to see other wild sisters, who are so open to share their stories. Um, and together, I feel we're stronger. It's time to really own our radiance, same as, I was been talking about compassion radiance. Be compassionate with ourselves, with our stories, and be radiate, be radiant, be radiant, because we only live, you know, this human life only lasts for decades. If you don't allow yourself to shine, as that natural light that you are innately born with, you're missing out. So, my dear sisters, I'm going to end it here. Thank you once again for seeing me. And oh, yeah, is there any music I want to share? I'm not going to dance because I'm having my period right now. I'm kind of feeling a little bit tummy ache. But I want to share a Chinese type of rhythm, to celebrate the Chinese New Year. And I am looking forward to connecting with you soon. Hope you all having a great week. Lots of sunshine and lots of love. Mwah. Bye. Love you.